what is it that you would tell, in one sentence, what is it that you would tell the next generation of leadership? Dr. Senator Fushi, I see you right there. My board of directors chair, I guess I better ask you first. I told you. I don't, I'll mess up protocol. I'll mess up protocol in a minute, but I think I got this one right.
I am happy to go first. I would simply say, trust God, believe in yourself, and persevere.
The message I would leave to the next generation is to have an impact. I mean, be innovative, stay relevant. All that hadn't changed, but a lot has changed. Be a messenger for the M. That means be knowledgeable, be a mentor, and leave a legacy. P means, as Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune talked about, purpose for people. We have to stay purposeful and progressive. And she defines progressive as the progress of the world will call for the best that all of us have to give. The A means advocacy and action. Talk the walk and walk the talk. Be a compassionate leader. Maya Angelou said, people don't care what you know until they know how much you care. And T means technologically savvy. We have to reach all generations to reach and teach the next generation. Thank you.
I will also pull the words of Mary McLeod Bethune in my advice to the next generation of women leaders, in that she said, if you have the courage and tenacity of our ancestors who stood against the horrors of slavery, you will be able to do for this generation what they did for theirs.
Don't be afraid to stand unapologetically in your own power. Do not believe or shake off the cloak of insecurities, the cloak of not enoughness that being a Black girl in America can give you. Stand in your power, stand in your leadership, trust your gut, and always, always, always leave the world better than you found it.
So in terms of our organization, a piece of advice that we would give to future leaders simply aligns with our motto. Our national motto is perseverance by virtue. Keep fighting, keep pushing. That's what we're all about. Do not accept just what is given to you. Demand more for yourself, demand more for your community, and you will have an impact on future generations and the quality of life that we all live. So that would be our one quick, brief piece of advice to future leaders.
If I had to give any words of wisdom or encouragement to future generations, it would be to first know yourself. Second, always be true to yourself. And third, be sure to take care of yourself, because we cannot serve others unless we are at our best. So anything that we do, we put forth our best when we take care of ourselves. And the last thing that I would always remind anyone to do is to listen more than you speak. We certainly gain wisdom and more information, and we're more accurate with our what we share with others when we can know what we're speaking and we speak truth always. So if I had to leave any words of wisdom for those behind me, I would say those things, and always reach back to bring someone forward. Never forget to be a mentor to those that we serve and that those who work alongside of us. Thank you so much, and it's my pleasure.
My advice to emerging leaders would be, when it's terrifying, when people shame you, when you barely understand it yourself, when you're shaking and when your voice is cracking, trust the divine within you and don't back down.
What I would say to the next generation of leaders is to be intentional about those that you allow to speak in your life and that you allow on your front row. Stay sold out for God and help lift others up as you climb. Remember that eagles soar with eagles. Thank you.
And to remember, service is about others. For when greater service, greater progress arises, we bring a greater world and greater women. Thank you.
I was recently speaking to a group of high school seniors just last week at my alma mater, and wanted to share this piece of advice I think is really important for Black women and for people who follow us in this position. And my advice is that we need to lean into the lessons of failure. Because while we celebrate success and high achievement in reaching our goals, the learning is actually in the act of failing. And so it is not a thing to be fearful of. It is something to embrace and to re-envision the mindset of what it means to fail. So failing upward.
Advice I would give is to be bold and unapologetically Black. In a world that teaches us that something's wrong with Blackness, I would encourage Black women that are coming up behind me to throw that out the window, to smash it, to know that we are brilliant and beautiful and have worth, and to surround yourself with women who are older than you, who are the same age as you, who are younger than you, because there's so much to learn when you have a broad circle of Black women surrounding you.
My advice would be to find a mentor and to be a mentor, because I think that mentorship, it's really important. It always supports growth and inspiration, and you're never too old to have a mentor. And I always tell my sisters, we have a lot going. The whole world is always against us and coming for us. So I say, let's fix each other's crown, and let's make room and create room so that all of our queens can take their throne.
My advice for young people is to be very intentional about where they are, what their spaces they occupy, because all of you here know that once you came and climbed up that ladder, someone wanted you to be there and was not always for the good of what your beliefs, your rights, and whatever organization you were representing. To communicate and collaborate with your sisters, those who support you. And as Stacy said, always be a mentor. Mentor up, mentor down. Because of course I have my mentors above me who are my state administrators from the great state of New York and the great state of Tennessee. Without, I could not make it right now. So always, but then I'm gonna close with this quote, and I know some of you know it. Know who you are, and that's what this quote says. If I didn't define myself for myself, I would be crushed into other people's fantasies for me and eaten alive by Audre Lorde.
My word would be to the younger generation, please, my sisters, be consistent and persistent in your endeavor. I also encourage each and every one of you to support our Black sisters who are candidates.
If there were one thing or a sentence or phrase, it would be never to pour from an empty cup, remembering God, family, and community in that order, and that we are more than enough, and that we are more than advocates. We are the solution, and we are our greatest asset. Thank you so much for allowing me to be in this space.
But what remarks I would leave for the people coming behind me, when you're working for the good of the people, and the people don't seem to cooperate, things don't go as you project them to be, as well as you want them to be. I would suggest to the younger people coming behind me to stop. Pray for patience, guidance, understanding, and endurance. Then pick yourself up, get a second wind, and remember who and what you're fighting for. You're fighting for the future generations. You're fighting for your children, your grandchildren, and for the world as a whole, because the world needs you and the world needs your work. And stick together as women, support each other in in all of your endeavors. Thank you very much for this time and this space on this program today.
Oof. Let me just take a deep breath. This is powerful.
Yeah, you can see the galaxy.
Spend time with each other, smile at each other, enjoying this energy, coming together, celebrating each other. This room.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, I wish y'all could see what I see right now. I'm flipping this whole room at the same time. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna stay focused. You know, have you ever been assigned something that is simple but not easy? No. This is I'm talking a little black, so never mind. But for me, still gotta keep it simple. But it's not easy to stay focused on an occasion like this, in a room like this. Celebrating leadership like this. It's not, it's a simple assignment, but not that easy. Because there's a lot to say. And I've only got this many pages. But I'm Courtney Crowder, Executive Director of the Black Alliance. And even as we get started and continue to celebrate and spend this time, and we've got celebration on celebration today. And we'll talk more about that in a moment. But I also want to make sure that I take care of one of my simple assignments, and that's to recognize our sponsors and the folks who helped make this occasion possible this morning. And so with that, I want to make sure that I specifically acknowledge the North Carolina Department of Transportation and the Office of Civil Rights. J&K General Contractors. J&K is the room. We appreciate that. Square Construction. Also supported Metcon Construction. We appreciate their Elite Group Services. And Raleigh Raised Real Estate. So we have a theme in terms of our support for this event, in the construction industry, and maybe it's appropriate. I'm trying to make a clumsy comparison to all the building and all the construction of our communities and momentum that the leadership that we're celebrating this morning has provided the Alliance in our communities for so long. So grateful for that support, and just want to make sure that we call it out. My other simple but not easy task is to introduce, I'm going to read every syllable wrong. Is to introduce Valerie Fouché. You know what's funny? Introduce Valerie Fouché. What are we talking about? Maybe I'll just, I would certainly want to say that personally, maybe as Madam Congresswoman, I'll take a moment of personal privilege to say how much I appreciate you, and I know that we all appreciate you for the tireless commitment to community that you've had. And it's not just Orange County where you were born and served on the school board as a county commission and represented the community in the legislature and both the House and the Senate before moving on to Congress. But it's because the reason why you got involved in the first place was in protection of young black boys in the schools, right? And it was about your continued demonstration of what commitment looks like, one to the other. And that's how, when I think about in this moment, what we're celebrating here today. I'm going to take a moment just to celebrate black women who do so much for all of us. many examples in this room. The personification of what type of leadership and love is a simple but not easy task for you this morning. You're appreciated and you're loved. Your commitment to the Black Alliance as chair is something that has inspired all of us. We have a room full. We've had so much growth and continued impact in this organization since under your leadership. And people don't see the day-to-day and the little things, the Zoom meetings. It's Dion's fault. Marcus, they're not here. I can blame. But it's your commitment to always picking up the phone and always standing in the gap and always being an example that means so much. So thank you. And without further ado, y'all, this is Valley for She, y'all.
shown me really what leadership looks like, steadfast leadership, not being deterred, not allowing any obstacle to stop you, never saying that because this is this way, I can't move in another direction. So thank you so much for what you've done and how you have inspired all of us to do more, to reach higher. It is certainly a privilege, and I am honored to be here with so many people with whom I've worked for many years, who are also committed to service. And serving as the chair for the North Carolina Black Alliance during this period in our state and our nation's history, it is vital for us to maintain and strengthen our collective power as Black women standing up and speaking out in every facet of leadership in our state and indeed this nation. The opportunity for the Black Alliance to recognize the contributions and the roles that we play in protecting our families, our communities, and this democracy is monumental at this moment. This morning is a full circle moment from our first All-Star Women in Leadership Gala during the 2019 NBA All-Star Weekend in Charlotte, hosted on the campus of Johnson C. Smith University, and today being on the campus of Mother Shaw in the footprints of Ella Baker and the formation of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. We are here as an embodiment of unapologetic leadership of women in this movement. Yeah. I'd like to thank my good friend and support, Dr. Franklin Denise Powell, for your hard work and vision moving us from a virtual luncheon last year to this beautiful in-person event this morning. Dr. Powell has been with the Black Alliance since the 2020 election, bringing a wealth of knowledge and historical, contextual application of social justice and political engagement. As a survivor of the Greensboro Massacre, where the KKK opened fire on a group of college and community activists while police officers failed to intervene, Dr. Powell, carrying her unborn son at the time, not only survived, but has thrived as a college professor of the board of trustee member, founder of the Arminta Ross Legacy Circle, nationally recognized organizer and strategist, and member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Currently, her work focuses around our state's community outreach efforts in response to COVID-19, and she uses her wealth of knowledge to support the integration of data, research and training among our organizing and issue-based work at the Black Alliance. Dr. Powell, we thank you for your commitment and embodiment of Black women in leadership. And on behalf of the board, and we present you with this bouquet. At this time, I'd like to take the opportunity to recognize the dynamic women in leadership that I have the privilege to serve alongside. Here with us today from the North Carolina Black Alliance Board of Directors, we have Representative Renee Price, who just walked in. Serving with us also on the board, we'd like to acknowledge in their absence is Councilwoman Valerie Jones and former Black Alliance Board Chair Commissioner Viola Harris, who also serves on the board of directors for our sister C4 organization, Advanced North Carolina, and neither of them could be here with us today, but that's also joining us from the Advanced North Carolina Board of Directors are two dedicated and committed Black women on the front lines of our political advocacy and movement strategy leadership. Sonia Lawrence. Recognizing our organization's leadership. And last but certainly not least, I would like to recognize the amazing Black women behind the scenes of this event and every activity of the Black Alliance and Advanced Carolina. Would you please stand? Y'all gave a lot to say, so I'm going to So at this time, it is also my great pleasure and my honor to recognize a few special guests who are with us here today. First is Tanya Smith. Joining NCDOT in May 2018, Smith has served as policy advisor for the Office of Civil Rights and Program Administrator for Data, Performance Metrics, and Reporting for the Technical Services Division. She serves as the chair of the Secretary's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Advisory Group, and she has chaired several in-house committees, such as the Diversity Spin and Office of Civil Rights Advisory Council. I am proud to announce today that as of August 17th, U.S. Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg appointed Tanya to the Advisory Committee on Transportation Equity, a department of the Transportation Department. The organization is aimed at providing advice and recommendations to Secretary Buttigieg regarding issues of civil rights and transportation equality. The DOT reviewed over 240 people for the committee, the newly appointed members who will serve each 2 terms. Tanya, congratulations. Next is Raina Walters-Morgan. Raina Walters-Morgan is the Director of Civic Engagement and Voter Protection for the Democratic National Committee, where she leads the organization's National Voting Rights and Voter Protection Strategy. Raina is a proud alumna of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, Go Hills, and Howard University School of Law. Raina started her voting rights advocacy work in college, where she initiated efforts that eventually led to the first satellite polling location within walking distance of the campus. After graduating from Harvard, she worked in private practice at Kirkland and Ellis LLP and later served as a senior attorney for the Social Security Administration. In 2016, she decided to return to her organizing and advocacy and took a position as a regional voter protection director for the Hillary Clinton campaign in Ohio. After the 2016 campaign, she focused her full energy and attention to protecting the right to vote by starting her own law practice, Walters Morgan Law, PLLC, and managing the 2018 Election Protection Program for North Carolina's nonprofit organization. All of us here are truly aware of the impact you and your husband and our friend have had in expanding in the vision and mission of Advanced Carolina and the North Carolina Black Alliance. Our hearts are still heavy from the loss of our dear brother, but our faith and belief lets us know that we will continue to move forward in the path provided by Black culture, and know that you have all of us here with you to ensure that you make it through. In a moment when our state and nation is under siege, Raina is committed to helping us defend against the attacks on our democracy. Raina, welcome. The next recognition goes to a woman who has provided an immeasurable boost to this event today, and in so many ways has devoted her life since a child to advance critical issues in our state. Valerie Jordan was raised while in grade school. She was on the front lines of the environmental justice movement, fighting with her family against harmful chemicals being dispersed in Warren County. Yeah, that's you. Valerie went on to study at North Carolina Central University and later an MBA with a focus on uplifting rural communities through economic development. She is the owner and operator of Hunter J. Group consulting firm and was appointed as the first African-American woman to serve on the board of the North Carolina Board of Transportation. Now, she is running for state senate and Valerie made a valiant effort to achieve the rights of women and the rights for all of us to breathe clean air and drink clean water. That I know. That's right. They are here thanks to the urgent call to action from Valerie to support Black women in leadership through their financial contribution, of which we are truly grateful. And so, Valerie, on behalf of we thank you. To be in the room giving flowers means nothing without someone tending to the garden long before the bloom. We have among us this morning a Black woman of whom we owe the utmost honor for her toil and labor for our political advancement, that being in this space, in these places where we get a chance to represent those who look like us. We want to honor the Honorable Congresswoman Eva M. Clayton. The inception of this event being birthed on the campus of Johnson C. Smith University, and without a doubt, the impact of J. not lost on this notable alum holding both a bachelor's and master's degree from Smith and North Carolina Central University. Moving to Warren County after marrying her husband, where would we be if Eva Clayton did not raise her hand in 1968 to run for office, launching what would become a lifetime of leadership at every level of community and political engagement with a particular focus on rural eastern North Carolina. Clayton worked on the Soul City Community Development Project in Warren County. In 1977, she was appointed Assistant Secretary for Community Development for the North Carolina State Department of Natural Resources and Community Development and served from 1977 to 1981. From 1982 to 1992, Clayton served as an elected member and chair of the Warren County Board of Commissioners. In 1992, Eva Clayton would become the first African American in Congress since post-Reconstruction in 1901 and the first woman. Today, we recognize another historical moment for Congresswoman Clayton as she celebrates her 89th birthday. And ask all of you to stand. See, I like this. And join me in singing happy birthday to Congresswoman Clayton. And we are going to leave it like this. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Celebrating not just Black history, women's history, but American history. Looking across this room, I see our genius, our genesis, our greatness, and most importantly, I see our future. I see us coming together in this moment of celebration as an act of radical resistance to the forces that are currently attempting to see to it that we will not maintain the forward progress needed to celebrate the next generation of Black women in leadership. I see us standing side by side, arm in arm, affirming each other, protecting each other, gracefully correcting each other, and staying deeply connected to each other to continue our push forward. There's so much more that we can do when we are united. And I am so grateful to all of you for the time that you are spending with us and each other today. Thank you and God bless. At this point, I welcome Tony Smith to the podium to bring us greetings from the North Carolina Department of Transportation's Office of Civil Rights.
Check my time. We are still in the morning. So good morning, everyone.
Good morning. Good morning.
Okay. It is great to be here with you all today, and thank you for the opportunity to speak on this platform. I would be remiss if I didn't start off with some talking points that my father texted me about an hour ago. You know, well scripted. He said, you must share a fun fact. So I must share with you today. So my grandmother, Addie Lorene Davis Butterfield, graduated from Shaw High School in 1921. See, back then, Black folks, Black teenagers were not allowed to go to high school. So though she was from Wilson, North Carolina, she actually travel here to go to high school at Shaw. Because again, there were no high schools for Black people. She graduated from Shaw's high school program in 1921 and then taught elementary school until the state required college degrees. Then she went to Hampton and graduated in 1945. The high school program here at Shaw, unfortunately, was discontinued 1 year later in 1922. My grandfather, George Kenneth Butterfield Sr., graduated from College of Shaw, class of 1922. Also, another fun fact is that my grandmother resided right here in SD Hall, which was a girls' dormitory. Back then, the first. And he also added at the last minute that my grandfather hooked up with my grandmother on the porch right This was a place of great my generation. But again, my name is Tanya Smith, and I serve as the director for the North Carolina Department of Office of Civil Rights. My office ensures NCDOT is promoting and ensuring equal access opportunities for people that participate in North Carolina transportation programs that receive federal and or state funding. This is such a great event. It's a wonderful opportunity to bring together women leaders to share their experiences so the next generation like myself, like my children, are prepared for the challenges that we face. We will collaborate, build relationships, and learn from each other and the importance of working together. Partnering with and learning from others is vital to what we do at NCDOT. Our agency's mission is to connect people and products safely and efficiently. And that's what having good partners. It starts with all of you. Let me tell you a little bit about the North Carolina DOT. I imagine some of you here today don't know a lot about NCDOT, as I'm still learning about NCDOT after 5 years. So I wanted to lead off by giving you a quick overview of what we do. North Carolina DOT affects the lives of every North Carolinian. We're a large department with more than 81,000 miles of state-maintained roadway. We are the second in the nation, behind only Texas. We cover every mode of transportation: highways, rail, public transit, bicycle, pedestrian, ferries, the state port system, and the notorious Division of Motor Vehicles, where we all have to usually start our experiences. Our annual budget is about $5 billion annually. We build and maintain about 18,000 bridges just here in North Carolina and culverts statewide. And our ferry system is the second largest in the United States. And I think we're going to track at some point to be #1. As I mentioned, we touch the lives of every North Carolinian. Transportation is changing in ways that some of us probably would never have imagined. Soon, much of the world will be using autonomous, connected, electric, and shared vehicle services to get around. And North Carolina still remains one of the fastest growing states in the nation. That means our diverse population demands a more dynamic transportation network, one that can meet the needs of our changing demographic landscape. And our Transportation Secretary is committed to making our agency one of the best in the nation. One of our top agency priorities is to make sure there are transportation opportunities available to everyone. Suffice to say, NCDOT has a lot of responsibilities. Because I like to focus on my office, the Office of Civil Rights, as we call it in the world of government acronyms, OCR or OCR, next to the end. The Office of Civil Rights has several units that support our transportation agency. Our strategic approach. We work with our human resources in an emerging talent program that aims at recruiting a new talent into the transportation industry. We also host the opportunities tours around the state to bring awareness to specific construction opportunities around the state. We also have a newly launched allyship collective, which creates strategic partnerships among diverse groups, including linking resources and providing support, community by community. So we know that we can't do the work ourselves, so we want to partner so we can build a scale of the impact that we have. OCR is also at the forefront of the Clean Transportation Plan. Put simply, the Clean Transportation Plan is a coordinated strategy to help the public and private sectors achieve an equitable and clean transportation system. To achieve the plan's goals, we need the support and contribution of everyone. Also, we have the HBCU Outreach Program Director here in attendance today, Ms. Christy Dunson, and also join with us Deputy Secretary Ebony Pickett. And I want to talk a little bit about what Christy's office also does. Our HBCU Outreach Program is another program we have here at NCDOT. The program is committed to helping NCDOT recruit more diverse employees to work with us and businesses to contract with us to build our state's transportation network. This partnership with our HBCUs and minority-serving institutions plays a critical role and has significantly increased our capabilities to recruit diverse candidates, that qualified diverse candidates. Sometimes you have to add that before. We are very qualified to help our team advance smart transportation. Speaking of the Office of HBCU Outreach Program, the office has recently created an alumni group to connect and develop professionally. The HBCU Alumni Resource Group is another step the agency is taking to achieve its goals of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Speaking of resource groups, just 2 weeks ago, the department held its inaugural meeting for NCDOT Women Connect Employee Resource Group to help the women in the industry come together to overcome challenges and build synergy and momentum. This group was established to motivate, bring together, and assist women in the department who are pursuing professional and personal success. Additionally, we are hosting DE workshops throughout the state, and this is really to be intentional about alerting the community about potential contracting opportunities. In 2021, Secretary Gary Boyette, who unfortunately is retiring at the end of this month. So we have an incoming Secretary, Joey Hopkins, who I'm sure will also lead this work, who is also at the forefront of launching our workshops. But we host these workshops at providing technical assistance and alerting others of opportunities in contracting. Last weekend, we began hosting our latest round of outreaches along the 14 highway divisions around the state. That's to include make sure 100 counties are covered. Workforce development. OCR ensures NCDOT is providing equal access to customers and employees participating in transportation programs. We have a three-pronged approach. We are focused on workforce development, environmental justice, and supplier diversity. And I'm so pleased at the helm of our board, who's leading from the seat that she's in, Ms. Valerie Jordan, has been intentional about ensuring that my office is bringing environmental justice into the equation. She had mentioned when I first received this position that she wanted to ensure that it was about all communities and that geographic diversity was just as important. So since then, I've been including that into our programming. Also, we provide our on-the-job training program in which we train folks in Tier 1, Tier 2 counties, underrepresented areas on working. We receive federal funding to do that, to train them on how to create careers. Moving on to some more areas of NCDOT, this is just a few. Microtrans greater among minorities. We know that research shows us 1 million people are without reliable transportation in North Carolina. More minorities use public transportation to get to work, and commute times are almost double commutes to work by car. NCDOT's Integrated Mobility Division is taking steps to address these disparities. In North Carolina, 60% of persons of color rely on public transportation. 60%. However, there are more vehicles registered than there are residents of the state. There are more vehicles registered in the state of North Carolina. However, 60% people of color rely on public transportation without a car. Talking more about our traditional motor vehicles, we're working hard to eliminate disparities among minority populations. There are 116 DMV offices around the state. 17 counties have no DMV office. 11 are mostly Black, with voting age residents that are higher than a state of 21.57%. Some notable areas that are critical areas are Bertie and Edgecombe counties. All of these areas are in rural areas. This also impacts voter locations. So these are critical issues of why it's important to understand the work that we're doing here at NCDOT. Talking about a few more policy initiatives. In our office, we are tracing our heritage. Tracing our heritage has always been a challenge in minority communities. Oftentimes, it's difficult to know where you came from. This is made more challenging by the fact that many of our ancestors are, and this is a difficult one, unmarked burial sites or in cemeteries that are not located on maps. We need to know where we came from and where we're headed. And yes, NCDOT is involved. That's part of environmental justice. We're working with NCDOT's Research and Planning Unit on a new project we have just launched entitled Cemetery Mapping for BIPOC, Black, Indigenous people of color, and tribal communities. Access to geospatial data identifying these cemetery and burial site locations would enhance the ability of planners and developers to consider the preservation of these important cultural resources. Let's move on to some data tools. We are building powerful data tools to tell our story. We have recently launched several projects utilizing artificial intelligence and machine learning to help create sentiment analysis. We're working with Google Cloud Services to accomplish this. So we are embedding technology and advanced technology into the work we do. Data is so important to civil rights because it allows us to create a visual and tell our story and to create analytics behind that storytelling. In closing, North Carolina, again, is one of the fastest growing states, and our population is demanding a more diverse transportation system. We must be prepared to meet these changing demands. And everyone can help us with our work. Please share with your friends and anyone who you know who wants to work with us or join our efforts that we are here to create community resilience. Thank you.
Good morning. I am Dr. Paulette Dillard, 18th President of Shaw University, and it is my esteemed honor to welcome the North Carolina Black Alliance to the campus of Shaw University, especially as we celebrate Black women in leadership. We are excited to have you on the campus, and I am so disappointed that I'm not able to join you this year. I have a competing engagement in Northampton County recognizing the first African American president to serve Shaw University. And unfortunately, it is at the same time as this event. Otherwise, I would definitely be here celebrating with you. Shaw University has an amazing history as it relates to women in leadership, Black women in particular. Estee Hall is the first dormitory for women built on a college campus for African American women. So we've recognized the role of women in leadership for 150 years. Continuing with that same legacy is our own alumna Ella Baker, 1927 graduate of Shaw University, who was instrumental in the formation of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee that is better known as SNCC, and it was pivotal for the civil rights movement at that time. And moving on from SNCC, we have the first African American president of the United Nations General Assembly, Miss Angie Brooks, also an alumna of Shaw University. And another interesting fun fact is the last 4 presidents to serve Shaw University, including myself, have been women. So I am excited that you're celebrating Black women in leadership, because that is part of who we are and our legacy as an institution. And being the oldest of the HBCUs in North Carolina, we are excited that on December 1st, we're going to celebrate the 150 years of Estee Hall and the founding of the 10 HBCUs in North Carolina, of which Shaw University is first and oldest. So enjoy your event. I know it's going to be incredible. And again, I am so disappointed to miss it, but I know it's going to be incredible. Thank you.
We're going to keep celebrating all day. We're going to celebrate ourselves. We're going to celebrate the work we have done and the work we are doing. We're going to celebrate what's about to be. So we're going to celebrate. We're going to commemorate. Talk about that a little later. You remember that this year is the 60th year of the March on Washington. I think the women did that. I don't, as I recall, I don't think they let us at the night too much, but I think we were running things. I think there was Dorothy Hyde up there. I think there was Mahalia Jackson. I think it was Mahalia that told Martin to say what he said. Am I right? Yeah. I think we run things. A little bit. So we want to commemorate that in what we do. And we want to have we want to remember all those who have gone before us. We are here at Shaw because we especially want to remember Ella Baker, a 1927 graduate of this institution. Are there any Shaw folks in the house? To recognize women leadership. So we thank you for hosting us today. The video of Dr. Dillard will be put up a little later. She supported us last year when we were in June. She answered the call to host us again. So graduates, on her behalf, we thank you. Thank you, thank you. And we also want to talk about possibilities. You heard Congresswoman Bushi talk about where we are going and things that we can do. Look around. Look at all this power in this room. We appreciate you for showing up as a Black woman in leadership, because you lead others. You are showing others the way. And when our birthday girl was Clay, you just messed me up. I'm almost 70. I know but I was thinking that maybe I could go sit down and play with the grandchildren. And everybody's shaking their heads like, no, you can't sit down. No, you can't sit down. And looking at you, and I saw you walking in proudly. I shall not sit down. So that's the legacy we have to give to the ones coming, the ones we're raising, the ones we're rearing, and the ones we're looking forward to having. I know some of you are saying, when am I going to have some grandchildren? I've got 5, and let me tell you, that's enough. That's enough gracious plenty. What is this, Greg?
Oh, it's another audio source. You good?
Oh, okay. They have all these, what is that line in Batman? Oh, these wonderful toys. They have all these wonderful toys that they have to tell you what your course. Thank you for that, Greg.
No problem.
I said the main things, the 4 main things that we're going to do today. There's really not that much more to add. We'll wrap it up later on. You know there's going to be an ask, but you've already done the biggest thing. You've already showed up. So we appreciate that. We good? We're good. All right. Let me tell you what's getting ready to happen right this minute. Coming up, we're going to have Mr. Urban Allen and Ms. Jordan Wilcox. Both of them are members of our data analysis research training team. They give me the great pleasure of letting me coordinate their work. I'm a special projects and training coordinator, right? So they let me train them, but they have it all going on. And one of the things we want to do today is show each of you how we can be better, all of us, how we can be better involved in getting ready. If you'll excuse my mouth, and I know we're being taped, but the 2024 year from now. Okay, y'all say that again. Y'all say that. Everybody stood with me. It's okay that I say the cuss word. We have to be ready. Amen. And whatever ways that we can, small ways, big ways, and they're going to show us a way while we get before we have lunch. So, Urban, George, come on up. We're hoping that they'll tell you more, but we're hoping that this is an activity that you can take back to your communities and your organizations. And I made it fall down great.
We're going to get our presentation set up. But thank y'all for having us. Thank y'all for giving us the time to speak with y'all about how we can make some movement in your community. We're looking forward to getting out. Actually, we started last week knocking on doors, started in Wake County with our recruiting kit and getting people out on doors to talk to campuses and give them the information that they need to get started. But we know that we're not the only ones out there, so we want to keep that momentum going, and we got some new tools to show you, so I'll hand it over to Jordan to get us kicked off.
Can everybody hear me okay? Yes. Sounds good. Well, good evening or afternoon. I want to thank everyone for coming out once again. It's really a pleasure to see some familiar faces as well as new faces. And we really just want to piggyback on what everyone's saying and kind of talk about how we can continue to do better and move forward. So what we're calling this is, as you've seen on the pamphlet, we're going to do an introduction to a table discussion that we're going to call the Path to Progress, and also introduce peer-to-peer testing, which you can bring back to your communities and the people that you interact with moving forward. So it has been proven that when Black people come together, we win. We already knew this. But as we're seeing in this space as well, we're really seeing that there are a lot of Black voters that are really the most powerful voters. When we turn out, we really do change the community and change the results. So one thing that we kind of coined as a phrase is Black influence plus Black wins equal Black power. There's a lot of influence in this room, so as we continue to push for these wins, we'll definitely have that Black power that we are looking for and that we're wanting to create in our community. We've also noted that young Black voters between the ages of 21 This is important because this is going to be our new base, the new people that we need to be bringing in and really getting them introduced to the political process as well as the community and how they can continue this process as generations move up. So how do we do this? One of those ways, as we heard, was communicating through a local lenses, really reaching and meeting people where they are and really getting down into the ground and communicating with what the needs are and what are the personal interests that will get people involved into the process. In addition, volunteer base. A lot of times we know that we're trying to get this work, but we need more people. We need more base. We need people that can come and help during these election cycles and moving forward. So really building a base of people and having them create a more sustainable volunteer process. Another way is targeted voter engagement. Really making sure that we're specifying these specific communities and specific targeted areas that we want to reach and we want to turn out. And visualizing our past. As we heard Ms. Tanya Smith say, we really need to be able to see this. This is why it's important to really track that data as well as hold it in the space so you're able to then relay this back into what does this mean for us? What is the story? What is the data trying to tell us? And increasing efforts in underperforming areas. As we know, this is something we always do, but really making sure that we specialize and put a lot of our efforts in these underperforming areas to really increase the turnout. We do see that a lot of more rural areas do get underserved because we are putting a lot of resources into more metro areas because of the turnout and the base is bigger, but really making sure that we are in these underperforming areas. So with that being said, I do want to pass it on to Irving to continue to talk about what would this look like? What are some ways that we as a community can now engage in this process and continue to build it out?
Awesome. Thank you, Jordan. All right, so I'm going to stay on thing with everybody today and share a little bit of personal information. I am Shaw focused because my dad went to Shaw Divinity School here and graduated and is now the pastor at Shiloh Baptist Church in Greensboro. So I'm going to claim that. It's NCANT State University. But also, I have a connection to Ella Baker as well. She specialized and spent her life and career in identifying and building up leaders all across the country that influence not only their communities but the world at large. One of those young men was my uncle David Richmond, one of the ANT4 who helped to lead the lunch counter sit-ins in 1960 on February 1st. So I want to continue in that lineage, passed down from him, passed down from my father, and passed down from Ella Baker directly, who had some theories. And one of her theories was that strong people don't need strong leaders. And that's why she spent her life investing in building up individual leaders, because once you have strong people, they are the leaders that they're looking for. And she spent her time building up those leaders across the country, and we see and live in the influence and impacts of their deeds today. And she also said to give people the light and they'll lead the way. That's what we try and do here with Advance NC and NC Black Alliance is create a light in communities so that we can share the information, the resources, and let the people lead the way with our actions. And so the tools that we're looking to use to do that, so that all of us can be like Ella Baker and identify these leaders and give them the tools and the resources that they need. One of those things is peer-to-peer texting. And this is the tool that we'll be using this new to some of you. Some of you are deep in campaigning worlds and deep in your communities. So you've been using this for a long time. But it is a new way that we can reach out to our communities, get folks involved in mass. I've been a part of hosting texting parties where a couple of folks can get together and send out tens of thousands of text messages to folks all across the state just by sitting around, hanging out with their friends, using their phone to send these messages out. And they'll send batches of template messages that you'll be able to reply to. So at the click of a button, it'll send out a bunch of messages to folks, and those folks will actually reply to you in your phone through the app. The tool that we're using is called Scale to Win, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to scale this thing to win. We're building up so that we can grow our influence across the state, get the word to our folks that, you know, there are elections going on. Some folks aren't aware that there are elections coming up in their community. And so we're getting the word out, not only by knocking on their doors, not only by calling their phones, but we're texting their phones. We're pulling up on them in the streets, everywhere that we can go to get the word out. We're also hosting events, and that's what we want to try and encourage you to do, because we know everyone in this room is a leader in their community. They've been putting in work. But we need for you to also identify and find those next leaders in your community and give them an opportunity, give them a resource so that they can become you in the future and keep continuing to empower folks. Some of the things that we'll be encouraging with these things is we'll give people the opportunity to opt out when we're texting them. If you don't want to get bombarded, if you're not interested in receiving those messages, we'll give you an opportunity to text out. We want you to respond to all the messages that you're assigned, and if you can't, then there's a way to unassign messages in the app, but we want folks to be attentive, and we want you to do the outreach to say, hey, we've got this capability, it's something new that you should be excited about how you can reach voters, how you can get the word out in your community. We want you to start taking advantage of those things. What we don't want you to do is to have this information sitting around for us to have it, for us to bring it to you, and for you to say that you're not trying to use it to get the word out, because that would make me sad. So we have a call to action today. Located underneath your program should be a card that looks a little something like that. And what we'll ask you to do is to take that card out. It's got a QR code that you can scan to get more information. But what we're asking you to do is to reach out in your communities, to find and identify these leaders like Ella Baker did, to host some events, to give your time to some of these folks who are interested but might not have the know-how that you have acquired over the years of work that you put in. Lend that time and energy to them so that we can grow our commitment and grow our influence in communities and scale the way. So please use your phone to sign up with the QR code. You can see us at the registration desk. And if you're interested in one of these texting events, I'm right there at the back table. You can come and see me and we'll get you set up and make sure that you've got that capability so that moving forward, we can send text out. And thank y'all.
Before we have lunch, other than the fact that I'm one of the nosy people you'll ever meet, I really am. I would like to create some more community in this room. Some of us know who you are, some of us don't know. Some of us met last year, some of us are just meeting this year. So if you don't mind, starting with Ms. Price. We have been here to introduce just about everybody at this table. We know you were walking in. If you don't mind just saying who you are and what you do, because there's a reason you're here.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Renee Price, and I'm currently representative for House District
50 that represents most of Orange County and all Castle County. And I've also, prior to this, spent 10 years as a county commissioner, so that's why I've been very much engaged with the North Carolina Black Alliance and the North Carolina Alliance.
Thank you. And the next table.
Hi, Lamar Bryan is my son. I'm from Craven County. The elders at my church. I also did extensive work feeding the homeless. Just trying to encourage folks to be the best that they can be. So I'm here today just to enjoy the women and also to enlighten people that we can do whatever we put our minds through Christ.
Amen.
Good afternoon, y'all. I'm Attorney Dawn Blagrove. I'm the Executive Director of Emancipate NC. We are an organization committed to ending systemic and institutional racism. And I'm here because I spend a lot of time in rooms with folks that I don't always want to be with, but this afternoon I got an opportunity to spend time in rooms with dynamic women who look like me, who I love and who I trust, and who fight just like I fight every day to make sure that all the women that look like us have an opportunity to stand in their truth and be leaders. So
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Dr. E, and I am the Executive Director for the National Coalition of Black Women Rising. And we build for us, by us, to protect us. And our mission is to elevate the mission of peer-lived experts to dismantle barriers associated with their own well-being, that we might address the needs of our own social determinants of health, with that being economic stability, health care, education, built neighborhoods and environments, and of course our social support systems and equitable distribution of resources. And I'm excited to be here with you today.
Hi everybody, my name is Glennis Wiggins. I'm a journalist. I currently work at CBS 17 in Raleigh. I have, my beat is working about social justice issues and marginalized groups, especially come with Black people, Black women, especially mental health advocacy, politics, music, culture, that kind of thing. Here supporting my friend Jasmine, who I've known from the nonprofit world and everything. So I've always been really passionate about politics and bringing a voice to Black communities, Black women, marginalized groups, mental health, things like that.
Hello everyone, I am Jasmine. I am a community organizer that you will hear from a little bit later.
Hello everyone, my name is Yolanda Taylor. I wear many hats, but today I'm here on behalf of the North Carolina Black Alliance as its program attorney. And I'm here today because I love Black joy and I love Black sisterhood.
My name is Jordan Wilcox. I am the organizing and data coordinator for North Carolina Black Alliance.
I'm Irvin, y'all just heard from me.
Great afternoon, everyone. My name is Tiffany Seawright. I am the lead program associate for youth voter engagement at North Carolina Black Alliance with a focus on HBCU, get out the vote. So please come see me. I'll be going around getting information from you all because we have to activate our campuses.
Hi everyone, my name is Aria Scroggins and I'm one of the executive assistants for the North Carolina Black Alliance, and I provide logistical support as well as just administrative needs for the organization. It's a pleasure to be with all of you.
My name is Sandra Joseph. I'm the other executive assistant, so nice to meet you.
Good afternoon. I'm Kimber Williams. I'm the operations coordinator for the North Carolina Black Alliance, as well as Advanced Carolina. It's always a pleasure to be here with everyone as well.
Hello again, I am Katisha Phillips, Senior Associate Director for both the North Carolina Black Alliance and Advanced North Carolina. I'm sure a lot of you have seen my name across your email accounts, but glad to put faces to the name.
My name is Betty Selby. I'm Regional Coordinator for Northeast for Advanced Carolina.
Good afternoon. My name is Bree Stevens, and I am the only female who served 2 decades on the Orange County School Board in Orange County and on North Carolina's first African-American Public Library Director.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bridget Wall Lennon. I am former director of the Office for Historically Underutilized Businesses. Had the opportunity to set that office up some time ago and have worked in minority business development for quite some time. I am also a former commissioner for the town of Wake Forest and celebrating 10 years now as the president owner of BL Wall Consulting. We do community engagement and MWB participation, so I'm glad to be here this afternoon. And I too am celebrating my birthday.
Good afternoon. I am Tracy Lovett. I am the Director of the Office of Public Engagement and Inclusion in the Office of Governor Roy Cooper. Very happy to be here. Black women give me image.
Good afternoon. My name is Diana Powell. I'm Executive Director of Justice Serve, Statewide Outreach Coordinator for Second Chance Alliance. I am here because nobody can stop what God has put in motion.
Good afternoon. I am Brenda Howerton, Chair of the Board of County Commissioners in Durham. I've been a commissioner now for 15 years. And as October 1st, I will become the chair of the Goat Triangle Board of Trustees. I will be coming to see you.
Man, take this with you.
This will be the first time a Black woman has ever been the chair of the board of Goat Triangle Board of Trustees. So we need your prayers and support.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Ashley. Bless you for that greeting. My name is Monica Talmadge, and I am so proud to stand here before all of you, my sisters, as a member of the staff of Lillian's List. And I know everybody's like, why is that such a big deal? Because for a long time, Lillian's List did not look like us. But you know what? We're changing that, and I'm a part of that change. And I'm excited to be a part of that change. I'm the recruiting and organizing manager, so Miss Selby, I'm going to come back and talk to you about that real quick. Unless you don't. Because it's a whole thing, and I'll tell you about it in just a second. But we're talking about first, and I've been in space, in sisterhood, and I've worked with almost every person in this room. Next year will be 20 years in politics. Yes, I started when I was 4 years old. But to be nurtured and to find friendship and to find sisterhood among women who don't look like you and you're one of two in a room. I've been one of two with Karen. I've been one of two with Tracy. I've been one of two with them. And here we are. Here we still stand. And it was y'all who pushed me to be the first African-American woman who was the Democratic National Committee woman of the Young Democrats of America in the 80-year history of the organization. Y'all told me not only that I could do it, but that I have to do it. It is my obligation to do it. So that's what I tell young women that I have the opportunity to come into contact with. And I'm very, very proud, confident, arrogant, and crazy.
And we have nothing but love. And you brought, ain't but two of us in this room, and you still see how foolish we are. But we are at the birthplace of every venerated HBCU. We give love to Mother Shaw, okay? LT, you ain't got to beat me up in the parking lot, I promise. I promise. So I'm just glad to be here with all of you today. Man, we don't need this microphone. Don't you hear how we... Hey Marcus, we here. Hey Marcus. Hey Marcus. Wherever you are, Marcus, we here.
So good afternoon, and y'all are doing a whole lot, right? I'm not an Aggie, I'm not an Eagle, and I'm not even a Shaw Bear, but I am a proud UNC Tar Heel. So there's quite a few of us in the room. That's what I'm talking about. There are a few of us in the room. So really, truly an honor. It is my privilege to serve as the city manager, the first female and the first black female for the city of Raleigh, right? So we did a thing in 2020, and it took a long time to get us here. So to whom much is given, much is required. So I wake up every day trying to make a difference for people that look like me. And so thank you all for the opportunity to be here today. And as someone said a few minutes ago, to be in the presence of black women gives us energy. And that's something that a lot of other folks can't say. Thank you.
Well, 2020 was a great year for the city of Raleigh. In addition to having Marshall come on board as the first African-American female, first female to be city manager. My name is Stormy Fort. I'm the first black female to serve on the Raleigh City Council. I was appointed in 2020 and had the opportunity to run citywide in the last election and won that race. I was the top vote getter, but the first black female to win a citywide race in the city of Raleigh. So, happy to be here at Shaw. It's, of course, one of my constituent universities. So love spending time here. I'm a proud Tar Heel, but I'm also a legal Eagle. So, and going to be leaving here to try to go figure out where Central is going to be broadcast so we can watch them play at UCLA this afternoon. So thank you.
Good afternoon. Certainly happy to be here. I'm Tammy Hall, and I currently serve as the Assistant County Manager in Durham. But for the last 6.5 years, I've had the pleasure of following in the footsteps of the birthday girl as the Director of the Office for Historically Underutilized Businesses, where I very proudly advocated for minority and women-owned businesses in this state. The other aspect of something that I've been most proud of is that I serve on the RDU Airport Board as the Vice Chair, first African American female in that role. So we know what comes after Vice Chair, right? So we're excited about what we're doing. I am a proud HBCU graduate as well of Arkansas Pine Bluff, and I have fit very well here. I serve in the Hall of Fame there in Arkansas Pine Bluff, but I've recently joined the Board of Visitors at ECSU, who has, that university, as you know, has a lot of historical value, and they have the only aviation, four-year university here in North Carolina, the only aviation program at their university, and are graduating pilots and all of these different facets of aviation. So happy to serve there. I'm grateful to be here with you all.
Good afternoon. My name is Carmen Coffin. I am retired from the North Carolina General Assembly from the House Principal Clerk's Office. So some of you I have met in that capacity, or your parents. And I'm a local author and historian because I believe that it's important for us to begin to write our history as opposed to having somebody else write it or tell it. And so I have written the history of the city, the black neighborhoods in Raleigh, and am constantly digging to find out more and more, not just about Raleigh, but about black history across the country. And so I'm excited to be here with you and to also encourage you to start writing your memories down about your family. Those elders that you still have around, record what they have to say. It's important, and it's probably not anywhere else except in their heads, because our history is everybody's history, and everybody doesn't know it. So I'm encouraging you to do that, and thank you so much. Happy to be here with friendly faces as opposed to the ones that I used to see all the time. Which way am I going? To me.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everybody, and please excuse my back. My name is Tamika Walker Kelly, elementary music teacher by passion, but currently serving as president of the North Carolina Association of Educators. It's the state's largest professional organization for public school workers in the state. And also, fun fact, NCAE is the iteration of two statewide teacher organizations, the North Carolina Education Association and the North Carolina Teachers Association, which was founded here on the campus of Shaw University in 1881. So I am really proud to be here. As a black educator, I am not often in rooms that look like me because our profession is still largely white, but the growing population of students in North Carolina look like me. And so I'm thankful to be in a room full of black women who continue to affirm and uplift each other. So thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jennifer Jordan Pierce. I am a county commissioner from Warren County, which is the birthplace of the environmental justice movement. It is such an opportunity for me to be here today, to be able to network with so many who have come from across the state, to get ideas, to learn, to be able to grow, to be able to take back. And I think that's what's most important for our county, to be able to take back what is out there, what are untapped resources that may avail to us. So today I am just appreciative and thankful to you all and for the opportunity of being here. So thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Janet Barnes, and I'm chair of the Wake County Southern Christian Leadership Conference. And I want Valerie Froschert to know that we did our part. We passed out 15,000 nonpartisan voter guides last year. SCLC did that. But our focus now is on the homeless children. In Wake County alone, we've got 5,700 kids that's homeless. We will be meeting with a group in Asheville next week. We've got an opportunity to sit down with the Obama Association under his wife to see what we can do about the homeless. And what people do not understand, they say, well, they need to pay the rent. Go back and read your statutes. North Carolina has a statute that says that even if you pay your rent, they can put you out. And that's what they're doing. And then secondly, we need to make sure that these kids are taken care of. And if it's $173 billion that the feds have, and all we need to do is to send the information in. Every school in the county has a coordinator for the homeless children. We need to have a conversation with the superintendents of these schools to find out why they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing for our children. If they have to put them up in a 5-star hotel, they have to do it. And the children, and it's not because they want to be that way, it's because we are not doing our part. And we got to get on the wall. The Bible says that we should be concerned about the least one of these. And that's my mission, is the least one of these.
Good afternoon. I want to not have my back to as many people as possible. My name's Carol Hollingsworth, and I'm here. I'm a board member of Advance North Carolina. And like Monica mentioned and others, I've worked in politics here in North Carolina for, almost 20 years. But I'm honored that at this point in my journey professionally, my work almost exclusively focuses on mentoring, nurturing, coaching, providing support for, protecting, bullying on behalf of Black women. And I feel like it's an honor to be able to do that because Black women always provide me a home. So I'm here today because I always want to come home and spend time and have fellowship with y'all. So thank you.
Praise the Lord, saints. I feel like we're in worship. Praise the Lord, saints. My name is Ashley Blue. I'm the North Carolina State Director at America Votes. That means that I run the coordinated independent expenditure and 501c4 electoral activity for many of the partners who are in this room, like our friends at NCAE and Lillian's List, and of course Advanced Carolina, and others. So I am the first Black state director for this program, which is quietly a big deal because it's very white. And so my goal is to run an electoral program that helps Black women win across the state and support Black people in general as we uplift ourselves and make sure we're mobilizing voters in every corner. So come talk to me about voting. That's it for me.
Excuse me, my back. My name is Christy Dunstan, and I serve as the Director of HBCU Outreach. That's a long name. HBCU Outreach at NCDOT. We have cards on the table, but we have 3 programs that serve our HBCU and MSI students. We have a internship program over the summer. We have a 2-year fellowship program for students that have graduated and recently graduated within 3 years. And then we also offer a scholarship program for students while they're still in school and they may need money, because we know the cost of college is increasing, and we want to help students stay in college to be able to complete their degree. We also offer a program, our National Summer Transportation Institute, where we hosted high school students, and we had about 80 students. North Carolina A&T, I'm sorry, Shaw, but North Carolina A&T has the longest running NSTI program at 31 years and still going. So hopefully, Shaw, you will submit when we call for the programs. Please, someone submit to have a program at Shaw University right down the street from us, and we would love to come right down the road to Shaw University and have some students participate in that summer program. So we want to create that early talent pipeline. We know that there are plenty of job opportunities at North Carolina DOT, and we want to increase the diversity in thought, in socioeconomic status, in all aspects of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so our office, we like to say we're a training ground for the students to help them succeed as they continue and pursue a career in transportation.
Excellent. Good afternoon, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here and to be a sponsor for this event. My name is Ebony Pittman, and I'm the Deputy Secretary for Business Administration at the North Carolina Department of Transportation. You've heard about our programs. We are really intentional about reaching out into our community to meet those needs. Transportation touches all of our lives in some way, and so it's certainly a privilege to be amongst you all today. We want to hear from you. We want to interact with you. We want to support you. So anything that we can do to assist you with that, please reach out to us. But again, it's such a pleasure to be here with you today.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Kimberly Pellenfanel, and I work with these lovely ladies here at the table with the Department of Transportation, Office of Civil Rights. I'm a program coordinator for DBE, SBE, WBE, small businesses. And so what we do is go out and try to help these businesses, what Tanya mentioned before about the outreach opportunities. We go all across the state trying to get them information on all the different things that, how they can do state and federal contracts with us. I am so excited to be here with you guys today. I'm glad Tanya invited me, so I'm glad to be here and learn from everybody. There's a few familiar faces in here that I've seen in other industries and businesses where I've worked, but thank you so much, and I'm glad to be here.
I'm going to be very brief. Good afternoon. Happy birthday, Congresswoman. Congresswoman, it's always a pleasure to be in your presence. Representative Price, it's a pleasure to see you again. I am LT. I'm Senior Director and Lobbyist for APCO Worldwide. I used to work for Governor Cooper. T-Love, I love you. Kamish, my girl. I won't hear Eric cry down one more time. And the Shaw University, okay? As you all can tell, I love my university. I went to Shaw University for undergrad. I'm also a proud Eagle. I went to NCCU for grad school. I sit on the North Carolina ABC board. I am the first black woman to sit on that commission. I also sit on the Planning Commission. Councilwoman, thank you for your vote. I do appreciate your confidence in me. My city manager, thank you as well. I appreciate everything you do for our city. Black women, it's always a pleasure, and black men, it's always a pleasure to be amongst you all. Valerie, my sister, thank you for inviting me. Mama Barnes, my sister, I love you.
My name is Sonia Barnes, and I'm a servant of the Most High God, and I'm a servant of my community. I've been out here in the trenches for years and years. I'm currently on the Advanced Carolina Board of Directors. I'm also on the Poole YMCA Board of Directors. I'm on the Wake County Salvation Army Board of Directors. I'm on Wake Med Health and Hospital Board of Directors. I retired from state government under Governor Easley, where I served as special assistant to the governor. I also retired from the federal government where I retired as the Director of Civic Engagement for Congressman David Price. I'm currently the president and the founder of the North Carolina Black Women Empowerment Network. That organization was started because I wanted to put something in place to promote and enhance and support us as black women. I'm also the president of the Raleigh Wake Citizens Association, which was established in 1932. And I just want you all to know that our WCA is still on the wall. During the last presidential election, we covered all 20 early vote sites the entire time, and on election day, we covered 69 precincts. So we have definitely been out here working, and I honor and appreciate everyone that's in this room today. Thank you so much. Oh, I forgot my baby. Get up from there. Get up. Yeah, that's my baby.
See, I done got another surprise today, but God, I tell you, this is a beautiful day. This is a wonderful day to look across this room and see so many of my fellow peers and my sisters as we all in the fight together. Again, I'm Valerie Jordan, and I reign from Warren County, North Carolina, and I am a proud resident of Warren County, and I learned my first way of protesting in the right way by laying in the road by the Congresswoman Eva Clayton, the protest with PCB. And guess what? We still marching to Zion.
Who just came in? The one in the green dress. Not sure. We need to know who you is.
Thank you. Thank you, Greg, my brother in Christ. I appreciate you. Okay, just talking to, okay. My name is Naimashina Navisha Burns. I hail from Bladen County, North Carolina. That's right, born and raised on the Chickenfoot Road in Tar Heel, North Carolina. But I currently serve as a member of Durham's historic all-woman Durham County Commission. So that is why I'm here today, and I get to sit under the wonderful tutelage of my chair, Brenda Howardson, and that fire over there, Congresswoman Valerie Foushee. So that's why I'm here.
Corey, is the other mic over there?
Dear Creator, we thank you for what has occurred. We thank you for what is occurring. And we thank you for what will be. We understand some of us call you Alpha, and some of us also call you the Omega. Whoever you are, and however you are, we thank you for your love. We thank you for your protection. We thank you for your power, your grace, and your mercy. And right now, we thank you for some chicken. We thank you for the nutrition that we're about to see. For the nourishment of our body. And all the hungry women say,
Actually, no, he's trying to down just as me. Yeah, you see the
please keep eating, keep eating. You know how we are on our schedule time on Saturdays. So just keep eating. And I'm going to ask my person, Sheila, to come on out to the mic. She has something special that she wants to say in the moment. In the moment.
Yeah. Where's my?
Okay, it's showing up afternoon now, so I'm gonna say good afternoon, ladies.
Where's my?
And while you are enjoying your lunch, again, I want to introduce myself. I'm Attorney Dawn Blagrove. I am the Executive Director of Emancipate NC. We are an organization committed to ending systemic and institutional racism. And right now we have a black woman at the highest elected position in our judiciary who is literally and figuratively fighting for her life, professionally, and in every possible way, fighting for the dignity that we all know that we earned 2 and 3 and 4 times over just to be able to sit at the table. That person I'm talking about is Justice Anita Earls. Emancipate NC, along with so many other organizations, including this one that we are here with today, have been beating the drum, raising awareness, and asking for support for Justice Earls. For those of you who do not know what is going on, Justice Earls is currently under attack by the Judiciary Committee, the Judicial Standards Committee here in North Carolina, and what the ultimate goal is of this attack is to remove her from the bench. As you all know right now, as of a couple of days ago, she is the only black person on the North Carolina Supreme Court and the only black woman. And she is also the only justice on the court right now who is trying to be cannibalized by the rest of the court. If we allow them to remove Justice Earls from her statewide elected position, none of us will ever be able to do the work that we do in peace or relative peace again. All of us live or die by the outcome of what happens to Justice Earls. Not just us, our daughters, our nieces, our sisters, our friends. We are trying to be silenced by the powers that be in North Carolina. And not just in North Carolina. North Carolina is a microcosm of the rest of the world, of the rest of the country, and the rest of the world for that matter. But there is an unmitigated, full-throated effort to silence black women, to stifle black power, and to make sure that we are dragged back to Jim Crow, where we were taught to stay in a corner and behave ourselves, and to be good black folks. And don't you dare ask for equality. Don't you dare ask to be treated with dignity and respect. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm not going back. Unfortunately, the road back isn't as far as it should be, but it's still too far. So I stand here and ask for all of you to raise your voices in support of Justice Earls, to speak out on the hardships that each and every one of you face just for doing your job as black women, to tell your stories, to stand in unity with Justice Earls and with every other black elected official who is under attack across this country, and say that we will not go back. We will not go back. We will not behave. And we have the right to demand equity and freedom just like everybody else. So in all of your individual capacities, I implore you, speak to the people that you have access to. Speak to your sphere of influence. And speak full-throatedly in support of Justice Earls. Speak full-throatedly about the reality that we know that this is about silencing Black women. This is about silencing Black political power. Let them know that we see it. We're not afraid to call it out, and we will fight against it with every breath in our bodies. Thank you. Ladies,
we're going to keep it moving. We're going to keep it moving. No, what do you want to chant? Hello? Thank you. Did I say that in my dear voice? Hello? We're going to keep it moving, not because we want to stop the fellowship and the friendship and the love, but because they're going to kick us out of the room eventually, soon, shortly. We're going to continue with the program, being mindful of the time, and we have Ms. Jasmine Wright. Jasmine is one of our spectacular regional coordinators, and you just got to hear what she's doing and what she's going to invite you to do in your area. Jasmine?
As well. Might have a flag in my way. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you, Dr. Powell, for inviting me and allowing me the opportunity to speak before these folks on this great campus. And I'm saying great campus because, again, everybody's already said it. This is Mother Shaw. This is where we've learned what organizing, what civil rights movement look like, what leadership looks like, especially from Black women. I think one of my favorite things I like to tell people, the civil rights movement wouldn't have happened without Ella Baker. So I'm appreciative and honored to be sharing this information with you here on this campus today. So I'm gonna do a quick introduction. I didn't really tell you all who I was because I knew I had this opportunity right here. But let me start by saying I am the Southwest Region Coordinator for Advanced Carolina. So that means I cover Gaston, Cleveland, Cabarrus, Mecklenburg, and Rowan County. We do have 4 other coordinators working with Advanced Carolina across the state. So there are more people who are working on the ground just like myself. I kind of want to give you all a little bit of background in regards to my experience as an organizer before we get started, kind of give you an idea of why I feel like the message I'm gonna tell you all kind of relates to what I feel is needed in this work today. So to start, I want to say that community organizing wasn't something that I thought actually was a thing. I honestly didn't even know it existed. It's better yet knowing that it's something that I can even get paid for. But I will say I've always been involved civically. Been a part of the NAACP as a member since middle school, high school, served on a chair. Even in high school, I worked as a poll worker. So I've always been civically engaged. I didn't realize organizing was a thing until when I was at my white institute. I ain't even about to name it because I did graduate from a HBCU. So that's all that matters. But at my predominantly white institute, I realized what organizing was when we led our march across campus in justice for Trayvon Martin. From there, I ended up later transferring to the true Golden Blue, Johnson C. Smith University. So I'm glad to say I am another Golden Bull in here. I hate that I didn't have a chance to share that with our birthday girl. But I will say it was being on the campus of Johnson C. Smith that kind of started me on this journey. From there, I wanted to recharter the NAACP. And in the process of rechartering our NAACP, I was able to land a position working with the state NAACP under Dr. Reverend William Barber. From there, I sat on I literally sat at the feet of former SNCC members, former SCLC members, and I saw and I learned what it took to be able to engage with not only just like our everyday community, but how do I engage with people who don't know the type of information that we are giving out. So ultimately saying all that to say, I want to make sure that you leave this space with me today, understanding that everybody is an organizer, and I want you to understand how to use organizing in your everyday lives, especially with you all already being the leaders that you are. All right, So this is the general definition of community organizing. The cooperative efforts carried out by coordinated group. One of the best examples that I got of this was when I was out knocking on doors in Cabarrus County. I met this lady who thought that she wasn't politically active at all. All she knew is she voted on a regular basis. So even the off-cycle election, she voted. But she didn't realize that she was actually engaging her community when she was telling me about what happened. Apparently, years ago, mail stopped getting delivered to her house. She asked, why am I not getting mail? So in the process of her thinking, why am I not getting mail? She asked her neighbor if her neighbor was getting mail too. Realized the neighbor wasn't getting mail, so Cousin Pookie lived 4 houses down. So she called Cousin, like, hey, you getting mail? So they realized in this neighborhood, in this small community, that this black neighborhood wasn't getting mail. So she asked her representative, why am I not getting mail in this area? Representative said, hey, there's nothing we can do about it. You gotta take that up to the post office. So this lady tells me that she had the whole neighborhood outside of the post office, and next thing you know, they got mail delivered to their neighborhood. So it was that story of, I'm like, you realize, she didn't realize she was organizing. I'm like, that's a community organizer. You saw an issue, you saw that everybody else was dealing with that issue, and you wanted to make a change. And my thing is, everybody can do that. And one of the other, so this is, like I said, a general definition, but one of the main things that I wanted to make sure you all know that the role of a community organizer, the true role of a community organizer, is to organize themselves out of a job. My job is to make sure that I'm not still doing this work. And we know that that's what we wanted, and we hope to see from leaders like Ella Baker and even Dorothy Counts in Charlotte. But we're still dealing with some of the same things. But ultimately, the job of an organizer is to not keep doing this and make more leaders. So, I want to explain how we're doing this work, or at least how I'm doing this work as a regional coordinator. You all know, and I'm super appreciative to be sharing, especially with some of our board members, what this work looked like for us on the ground. So I am, like I mentioned, the regional coordinator for Advanced Carolina, but that doesn't necessarily mean my work doesn't mix or intermingle with North Carolina Black Alliance. So our Advanced Carolina is our C4, and this is where you'll see a lot of our county work housed. For me, like I said, I cover Cabarrus, Gaston, Rowan, Mecklenburg, and Cleveland. In my Cabarrus County region, and most of my region, what I'm aiming to do and see, a monthly meeting, a monthly gathering place filled with leaders. So like I mentioned, my Cabarrus County lead, at the end of every month, he has a meeting space that has the NAACP president, the Black Political Caucus president, literally mostly all of our Divine Nine presidents are on this call, as well as faith leaders. So even though that's in our C4 space, my county lead is leading this work, these are where we're gathering and convening our spaces. Now, how we collaborate with NC Black Alliance, and one of the main things I like to uplift, North Carolina Black Alliance has the resources, the knowledge, and all of that we use to filter into these county table meetings. So we got Code Red telling us about the different policies that's happening. We know that we need to get that information to our county tables or our county leads so that they can then share that with their networks. So that's how we see a lot of our work intertwined. One of the things that Dr. Powell definitely wanted me to uplift was recently we were able to work with Delta Sigma Theta. They put together a social action day where we got to sit on a panel, educate folks about getting civically involved. Super great exposure for us. Another thing, our alphas in Gaston County, we have a mayoral race right now that's going on. So we wanted to know which candidate we felt was worth our time to even hear from. So our alphas and North Carolina Black Alliance partnered to put together a mayoral forum. I will say, after that forum, our Gaston County table realized, honestly, none of those candidates was really for them. But it took them to understand and have a space that we work together with all of these organizations to do that. Now, I will say on the North Carolina Black Alliance side, you will see a lot of our Divine Nine, our faith leaders, our HBCUs, again, even our Black and Brown Policy Network, you'll see a lot of this information come from that side, but it gets filtered through these different networks that we have in our bases with Advanced Carolina. So I definitely want to make sure that you all were clear on how we organize on the ground within that space. So I mentioned we got these two different arms working, and all the different arms have a number of people. I think one of the things I want folks to realize, and we know it, it's more of us than there are them. There are power in numbers. So ultimately, we know that once you build stuff from the ground up, when you're talking to everyday folks, we can eventually reach and hit the people at the top. But in order to do that, and I think we've heard it, or it was alluded to it, even with Irving and Jordan talking, we need to build the base. So here's some of the steps that I wanted to make sure we understood, and especially with you all as leaders, Black women leaders in your county, you all already got a base. The question is, are you using your base efficiently to get the information and what we need out? So when I say build your base, you got access to a network of people that you're engaging with on a daily basis. My thing is, have that conversation with your sister. Have this conversation about what's going on with your neighbor. And when you have those conversations, you're ultimately building your base. The next step, as you're having these conversations with your everyday folks, find out who's ready to take that next step and initiate some type of change or solution. Again, what was the number one thing I said is the job or role of an organizer? Work yourself out of a job. In this step, we want to make sure that you are building leaders, having somebody else to take your space afterwards. I think Don probably knows my young mentee better than me because he's on the ground doing so much. I made another leader who's just as passionate and strong about this work as me. And third, we got our leaders that we're building and we're having these everyday conversations with. They got people too. So ultimately, I know people hate the pyramid schemes. Let's use these pyramid scheme structures that work for us. We know that if we reach this person, they got access to 10 other people that needs this information just as much as we do. You all have access to a network and a base that has access to a network and base that will benefit from this information. And what we saw earlier, there's power in numbers. This is how we get to those numbers, through building that base. Now, last but not least, we got our base, we got our numbers, we got our people. Let's take action. So one of the things that we wanted to uplift when we're talking about taking action, some of the different steps that we have, I got follow your leader here. I'm not talking Simon Says, I'm talking your political leaders. We got some folks here who are sitting in seats, who have access to power. Those people in power need to know that you are watching and following them. You're seeing how they're voting, how they are advocating for the people in your networks. You need to know what they're doing, and they need to know that you know what they're doing, so they know next election cycle, if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, you got access to a base that can get them out of that seat, so you can get somebody in there who will do what they need to do. Second, know how to get in touch. That piece pretty much means, again, I told you to know who your leaders are, but not just your leaders. Know where the resources are. How can we share these resources with the rest of our network? Know who to get in touch with. North Carolina Black Alliance has a lot of nonpartisan information that needs to get out. You got access to a base that can fully receive this information, but you might have somebody who might not fully understand or know, so don't be scared to reach out, ask those questions, get the information that you need. Next, attend host community events. And I'm gonna actually extend that. I put host in terms of serving as a partner, serving as a sponsor. Like I mentioned, the Deltas and the Alphas in my region are really big on making sure they're working with us and getting our information. But also I want to include another thing that I kind of require for my county leads is to be up to date on all the public meetings. So they know when their county commissioners meetings are, they know when the Board of Education meeting is, they know when the Board of Elections meeting is. And the main reason for that is because if we're not in these spaces, decisions and things are happening without us. So that's why we say attend some of these events. Again, let them see that you know what's going on, so when you do question it and challenge it, oh, she was already there at the meeting. She can't tell me that I didn't say that because this is what I said. So next, organize an event. So we got you helping us host, we got you helping us by showing up and attending, but now, how can you get this information out to your base? Get some of our information and say, hey, we saw that we have a little thing right here on how you can engage by canvassing and all of that. But did you know you can host a brunch and ballot? That's hosting an event with your own network. all we're doing is helping provide that resource and information to you all. And then lastly, make your voices heard. We're here in Raleigh right now. This is the capital. Decisions are being made at our state house literally almost every day. We can be a part of that by making our voices heard. And it's doing little things like this, taking these steps, these actions that can help elevate that. I thought I had another slide with thank yous and questions, but I'm gonna leave it here with the action steps so that you all can keep that forward. And I am willing to allow space for some questions if y'all have any. Other than that, I hope you all can share this with your networks and it helps you better organize as well.
Jazz is sincere about her wish for you to connect with her, or if you know somebody in her area, she kept mentioning those areas, please ask them to get in touch with her. Take a moment of privilege. Jasmine is our regional coordinator in that area. May the other regional coordinators in the room stand if they're here and available. Not all. We have Miss Betty Selby. What's your area, Miss Betty? What are the counties?
There, at the time
all up in that area. I call it that upper right-hand area, northeast area of the state. Thank you. And Lamar, Ms. Bryant's baby, he'll be back in the room shortly. And he's right here in this area here. So we want you all to connect. This thing is bi-directional. Yolanda Esquire, come on up. And we're gonna move things along because Miss Sonia said, you know, don't take all day. She didn't say don't take all day, but she did what you want.
Hey, oh, I might need some height. We don't have any height. Okay, you turn it up. Oh, yeah. Hey again, ladies. My session hopefully will be brief and inspiring. Again, my name is Yolanda Taylor. I'm the program attorney for the North Carolina Black Alliance and Advanced Carolina, actually. This segment is on Can You Imagine? So this is about imagining what a world would be with our collective power and the power that can be birthed in a movement. Okay, we all know a lot of our stories, but I wanted to ground it again about the North Carolina Black Alliance. We know that for 20 years, the North Carolina Black Alliance has consistently worked to convene and cultivate Black elected officials across North Carolina to centralize collective power. Now with 842 Black elected officials across the state, the North Carolina Black Alliance with an ambitious and skilled team is poised to be a banner organization that understands the power of strategy and its ability to secure lasting systemic change. Who we are, briefly, we are a 501c3 organization working towards state-level systemic change. And we do that through the strengthening of the network of elected officials that we have at our table who represent communities of color throughout the state. And we do it through collaborating with progressive grassroots networks and partners on intersecting issues. The Alliance is an intergovernmental network of African American legislators, county commissioners, school board members, and municipal elected officials centered by a commitment to ambitiously address broad issues of inequality and fairness. These issues range from democracy reform, criminal justice reform, environmental justice, and economic justice. The Alliance collaborates with strategic partners to advance this work and to enhance intentional collaboration with our Black constituencies. To give our flowers again to our board of directors, Congresswoman Valerie Forshee is our chair, Keith Sutton is our vice chair, and Viola Harris is our secretary. And I've already talked about these issues. These are still our 2023 issue areas: criminal justice reform, economic justice, education, healthcare, environmental justice, and democracy. And we do this through who's at our table. And these are our members that are at our table. They're faith-based, as been stated, campus-based, Divine Nine, Black elected officials, and local PACs. So that was the history of the North Carolina Black Alliance, just to ground it here. But let's talk about Ella Baker. You know, we know that Ella Baker is one of the most important American leaders of the 20th century and perhaps the most influential woman in the civil rights movement. We know she studied here at Shaw University, but we also know, and I don't know if you know, but this was I guess a new fact that I learned was that while she was here, she challenged school policies that she thought was unfair. And when she graduated in 1927 as valedictorian, that's where she really began to soar. She moved to New York City, and she began joining social activist organizations. In 1930, she joined the Young Negroes Cooperative League, whose purpose was to develop Black economic power through collective planning. She was also involved herself in organizations with other women, the sisterhood of having these organizations with several other women. She was committed to economic justice for all people, and one of her famous quotes is that people cannot be free until there's enough work in this land to give everybody a job. And we know that that is still a prevalent issue in today's society. She criticized professional leadership. She promoted grassroots organizing and the ability of those experiencing oppression to understand their worlds and advocate for themselves. She realized this vision most fully in the 1960s when she was a primary advisor and strategist to SYNC, which she helped found here at Shaw. Ella Baker was also the premier behind-the-scenes organizer and co-founder of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, headed by Martin Luther King Jr. She was a community builder and a movement leader. So can we imagine how it felt to be a voice during such turbulent times where you would literally probably be killed or lynched? Can we imagine how it felt to be a woman in a movement where men mostly led? Can we imagine to possibly have friends who thought maybe you were doing too much? That's today. Can we imagine that some of us feel that today? I have friends that say, Yolanda, that post was a little too much. Girl, it was not too much. It was most needed. You know, is what I say. So can we imagine what she must have felt? Because I mean, literally her life was possibly on the line. And I know today, you know, we may have careers, we may have networks, we may have other things that could be on the line if we say certain things. But if Ella Baker could do it then, I feel like we could do it now. So let's talk about women in leadership, which we all are in this room. We are women in leadership. And why is that so important? As women, I believe we are called to be the conscience of a nation, to be the conscience of our communities. We are the passionate and compassionate voices speaking out against injustice or unfairness. We can lead with our unique perspectives and our lived experiences. And as women leaders, we need to be trusted. Society should trust Black women as experts, because we are experts. We are the torch bearers of our democracy, because when a nation centers Black women in politics, it naturally lifts everyone else up. When you center those who have the most oppression in society, you naturally lift everyone else up. Let's talk about rent control real quick. And I'm gonna stay on script, wearing my NCBA hat. If we would have lifted evictions up as a policy when data and statistics show that those who were at the forefront of evictions were Black women with children, we may have had rent control or some type of just policy by now as it relates to evictions, but now it's an issue, and now we have other people talking about rent control. We deserve, as Black women, a return on our investment in democracy, because we carry one of the largest political parties in this country, literally. So this is about why our leadership is important and needed. And I think a lot of us already know that, and we are leading. Some of the issues that we work on, because my job is also to talk about these issues and what we can do today, what Ella Baker did then, what we can do today to continue her legacy. We know there's a legacy of housing discrimination on Black health. The North Carolina Black Alliance has done a case study in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, where you saw in the past these maps that actually color-coded and racially segregated or red-line communities. We see that today those same communities can have these similar color codes and that they impact health. There is disparities in environmental justice, how our communities are built. There's absence of trees in Black neighborhoods compared to white neighborhoods. There's asthma, there's diabetes, there's high blood pressure, and there are still food deserts. We know there's a legacy of housing discrimination that remains, in my opinion, in today's urban planning policies. We know, again, that Black women were disproportionately evicted and still are. And not just Black women and their children. Examples of environmental justice issues, you've heard the term PFAS, polyfluoro, I don't know, I just listened to YouTube, tell me how to pronounce this word. Okay, it totally left. PFAS, let's just say PFAS, are thousands of human-made chemicals used in everyday consumer products, and they disproportionately impact lower income communities. I mean, they could be found in public housing, carpet, they could be found in cartons, if you're eating fast food. Most fast food cartons carry PFAS. They're labeled forever chemicals because they're very long lasting and they're probably in each of our blood right now, I hate to say, because there are tests that say that all of us have a little bit of PFAS, possibly. But they break down very slowly in the environment. We know there's lead contamination, naturally occurring elements that can be found in small amounts in nature, but lead used in products such as paint, pipes, batteries, and cosmetics increase the rate of exposure. We know that our communities are sometimes still disproportionately impacted by lead issues. Continuing environmental justice issues, we know that CAFAs are large farms or corporate farms that have a high density of animals confined for at least 45 days a year. We find those in our communities. Energy justice is the issue. We call it energy equity. It acknowledges the energy inequities that unfairly burden low-income communities of color and work to create an inequitable energy system. Low-income communities and communities of color disproportionately experience higher rates of service outages, power shutoffs, and a higher energy burden because their homes usually lack the needed weatherization. So, when we're talking about these issues, we're literally talking about our health and our longevity. So some PFAS have been linked to many serious health effects such as cancer, liver and kidney damage, hormone disruption, developmental and reproductive harm. Again, this means that PFAS can also be found in the blood of newborn babies and passed down through breast milk. We already talked about lead. But how it impacts our kids. Black children are 3 times more likely to have elevated level of blood levels and are disproportionately more likely to experience lead poisoning. Some of those signs could be headaches, high blood pressure, stomach cramps, constipation, muscle, joint pain, trouble sleeping, fatigue, irritability, and memory issues, a whole bunch. So what are we seeing today as far as our policies at the local level and proposed bills? We know that Senate Bill 747 has a host of election law changes that are going to erect even more barriers to voters and their ability to vote. One thing that stands out in Senate Bill 747 is the elimination of the 3-day grace period for receiving absentee ballots by mail. That's been eliminated. And we're concerned that those ballots that come in, those ballots have to now be received by 7:30 p.m. on election day. We're concerned that, those ballots that do come in after that time on election day will be invalidated. The 3-day grace period that we've had and that we've fought for has helped ensure voters didn't have to have their ballots thrown out because of unexpected delays, in the mailing system. Then we have Senate Bill 749, the nonpartisan advantage in elections. We know that this is a power grab by some parties to actually change the authority, who has the authority on the State Board of Elections. Currently, it's the governor who gets to, fill some of those important seats. So with this bill, that changes. And I'm not going to go into all the details of it because of time, but these are important bills to note. We already know about SB 20, health reproduction. It bans abortions after 12 weeks of pregnancies in most circumstances. We know that reproduction rights may not be necessarily reproduction justice, which is what we as Black women are concerned about, in addition to just general reproduction health. Then in our housing legislation, on that list, there's a bill that's moving, House Bill 60. It's an environmental justice bill. Advocates and opponents of this bill, they're calling it the polluter's wish list. It looks like, people are able to just pollute water with less regulations. Of course, those who are the proponents for the bill are saying that these regulations are killing businesses. So they're trying to remove regulations, which also causes us to lose some valuable protections. And we all know about voter ID. We all know that we need to tell our sisters, our tribe, our family members that they need to have an ID. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a driver's license. There's a list of what's an approved ID, and I want to thank Tiffany, I think she stepped out, but Anya, they did a lot of great work at our HBCU campuses in ensuring that students were prepared to have their student IDs in order to vote. So moving forward in 2023, we see that, the things that Ella Baker dealt with may be a little different, but they're similar. There are things still impacting our community. Moving forward, we have the capacity as women in leadership to shift policy, and not just shift policy. A lot of us are already leading policy because we, again, are the experts, and people should trust Black women. We are the experts in what impacts our communities and our children. We must show up, as we always do, to vote and to encourage others to register to vote. And don't just register to vote. We might have to then drag them to then vote. We must not remain silent in the face of injustices. Still, we must remain fierce in every which way, from hair to shoes to outfits to nails. But we must remain fierce in the way that Ella Baker remained fierce. We gotta have the courage of Ella Baker to birth movements. It's in these movements, where we build our collective power. So on the next page, I'm not just trying to show my pictures or my favorite pictures. This is my vision board. So I want you to imagine, and I'm so sorry, Congresswoman, I had one of you, but I was rushing. This is imagine that. Imagine that this is your vision board. Think about the women, all the beautiful tribes that you have, all the beautiful networks that you have, the people here, people that have inspired you. Imagine what we can do when we get together and we talk about more than, less stressful things, but we talk about this work, because this work is important to our health, literally. So this is my vision board. I got my mom there. To my left, my sister, just different women, my professional network groups. If you have sororities, it's those groups as well. And right here, and I'm in the yellow right here, I have my tribe at the North Carolina Black Alliance. It's my tribe that I work closely with. Everyone at the North Carolina Black Alliance is my tribe. But this is the Black Legal Network, and I'm gonna do a shameless plug for the Black Legal Network. We are a group of attorneys. That's Attorney Nastasia Watkins, Attorney Cassandra Stokes, and myself in the right. And we are wearing jeans and hoodies on election day and early voting. And we're at the polls, and we're there to take affidavits and witness statements from voters who were saying that they were denied access at the ballot. We know that we expect to see challenges to voter ID, so we're going to be there as well, taking their affidavits and their statements as part of litigation that could be advanced in the state. So if you are a lawyer in this room, if you know a lawyer, Please encourage them to go to www.ncblackalliance.org and click on our work, and you'll see the Black Legal Network. This is our 3rd year, and we're growing. So go home and do your vision board. Imagine all the wonderful women in your tribe, and just imagine how tough you can be together, and how powerful you can be together, and what movements you can advance together. Thank you.
Ms. Barnes, come on. Close us out, please, ma'am. You have the honor of doing the closing, and I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
She loves me no matter what.
That's right. That's right. Good afternoon. My name is Sonia Barnes, and I'm the founder and president of the North Carolina Black Women Empowerment Network. This organization was started in the year 2003. NCBWIN was created because I witnessed countless episodes where we as black women were stabbing each other in the back and tearing each other apart. I wanted to find a way for us to support, promote, and enhance each other. NCBWIN mission is to advance the wholeness and total well-being for black women through deliberate social, economic, physical, mental health, and educational initiatives. Like other organizations, we maintain a continuous commitment toward deliberate resolutions regarding problematic issues concerning black women. Enough about NCBWIN. I stand here today to briefly talk about the importance of each and everyone in this room joining together to work for a better tomorrow, for better towns, counties, and state and nation initiatives. Now, how do we do that? We do that by voting. As you know, we are confronted with individuals that would like to turn back the clock and dismantle so many of our accomplishments. They would like to negate our history and heritage, to hinder us from voting, to dismantle diversity legislation. They are making it harder for felons to vote after they have paid their debt to society. They are now requiring voter identification. The June 29th Supreme Court decision on affirmative action effectively ended race-conscious admission practices in higher education. Ladies and gentlemen, this erodes racial equity in higher education. Politicians are choosing their constituents rather than the constituents choosing their elected officials. Some are rejecting advanced placement courses on African American studies. And then they're also refusing to allow schools to teach black history. Let's look at how they are fighting against the term woke. In the black community, the term woke means that someone is informed, educated, and conscious regarding social injustice and racial inequity. Some have also used the term to inform people of social injustices such as police brutality. However, the term is now being used by some conservatives as an insult against progressive values. We need not look any further than right here in the state of North Carolina to see how our governor's authority is being eroded. They're taking over the boards and commissions that was under the auspices of the governor's office. They're attempting to have the State Board of Election be composed of 4 Republicans and 4 Democrats. Yes, we must work to elect a governor that cares about our needs and well-being, but don't get it twisted. We better work extremely hard to retake the majority in both chambers of the North Carolina General Assembly, so that our governor can maintain the power that he or she deserves. It's not going to matter who's in the governor's office if the people in the General Assembly is going to continue to eliminate the governor's powers. We don't want a figurehead. We want a governor that makes decisions that are in the best interest of the citizens, regardless of their race, social, or economic backgrounds. The governor is elected statewide, and the people taking his power are from districts, and some of them are gerrymandered districts. As though, when I thought about today, I said, now what can I think about? I wanted to talk about Willie Lynch. And so when I began to search that, it claimed that Willie Lynch delivered the divide and conquer speech on the banks of the James River in 1712. But that cannot be true because they gave his date of birth as 1742 and his death as 1820. As I began to read about the divide and conquer strategy, anger began to fill my heart. Then I remembered what President Obama said. He said, "Don't get mad, vote." Researchers have said that this speech, the divide and conquer speech, is a hoax, and that letter is a hoax. It may be. However, I believe that some of these techniques were employed and continue to be employed to divide and manipulate and control us. Some of the articles stated that listen to what I'm saying now. Some of the articles stated that making a slave is the scientific study of man breaking and slave making. Man breaking and slave making. It also referred it to and compared it to training or breaking a horse. Now you know and I know in order to break a horse you have to what? Break his will and break his spirit. The pamphlet talked about pitting the young black males against the older black males, pitting dark-skinned blacks against light-skinned blacks, pitting women against men. I don't care where that divide and conquer mentality came from. Let's make a pledge that it stops with each and every one of us in this room today. We need each other. If the wrong people are elected, trust me, we will all suffer. As always, they will attack the most vulnerable first. Individuals that are unable to defend themselves because of racial, social, or financial problems. However, I guarantee you they will come for us too. We must work our communities to educate and encourage everyone of voting ages to get out and vote like your livelihood and your survival depends on it, because it really does. Our very democracy is in jeopardy. I was talking to a young lady the other day, and I said to her that a certain person doesn't care about us because to this individual, poor people are insignificant. And she looked at me and she said, "Well, we are not poor because we have homes and we have jobs and etc." And I looked at her and I said, "Baby, when you live paycheck to paycheck, you're poor. One accident or one mishap could cause you to become homeless." I heard someone say that if you can count your money, you don't have any money. So, Lord have mercy, Jesus. The upcoming elections are extremely important, beginning with the White House to our soil and water candidates. If the wrong person is elected president and if the wrong party controls the U.S. Senate and the U.S. Congress, middle class and poor people will catch hell. Excuse my terminology. I strongly believe that they will mess with Medicare and Social Security. They're going to try to privatize it. Yes, we need modern electronic devices to encourage people to get out and vote. However, we also need to employ some old-fashioned neighbor-to-neighbor, friends-to-friend strategies that we used to employ back in the day. Each person get 10 people to vote, and those people get 10 people to vote, and so on, and let it spread like wildfire. Let's not leave a stone unturned. Reach out to other minority groups, disabled groups, colleges and university students, senior citizens, women groups, churches, businesses, and etc. Don't leave a single county or municipality untouched, from the mountains to the coast. Rural counties, urban counties, I don't care if you think they're red or blue. Reach out to them. You'll be surprised at the votes you may be able to garner. Some elections have been won or lost by a very few votes. In closing, remember, you cannot conquer what you don't confront. Thank you, and may God bless you, and let's get to work.
We needed that. We needed that. You gotta start off excited, and you have to wind it up excited. So thank you for that. Thank you so much. We said we were going to have a day of celebration, commemoration, memory, and possibilities. We said we were going to do that. Have we done it? Yes. Let me remind you, have we done it? Yes. All right. We want to say, in terms of celebration, we've had birthdays, we've had women to share who they are and what they are. First elected this, black elected that, Congressman Fushi, you've never been a congresswoman before, that kind of stuff. It's all here. We commemorate, as we said, the March on Washington, 60 years. We remember Shaw, right? Birthplace of your grandparents. There you go, they hooked up. They hooked up, said the groove. Hooked up here. So we have legacy in this school. We have Ella Baker's legacy. Did you know that John Lewis was one of the young members of SNCC that she cultivated? Look what remember what John Lewis did, correct? Look who we have now. We got Kamala, Ketanji, Fani, Anita, and you. Can we say that together? Kamala, Ketanji, Fani, Anita, and me. Say your name. Kamala, Ketanji, Fani, Anita, and Denise. What's your name? We're not going to say her name anymore. We're going to say their names, and then we're going to call our names. Because we're next. We got next. I don't know who plays cards. I play Big Whist. I play spades. After I run a Boston, I say, who got next? We got next. We got next. I know that at that time, we were talking about a civil rights movement. I know we sang the songs. Deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. Well, I don't believe that anymore, in full transparency. I don't believe we shall overcome someday. I believe we're going to overcome today. I believe the answers are in this room and in other rooms we create. I believe we no longer, as Shirley Chisholm said, need to bring a folding chair to the tables where they won't let us sit. I think we need to build our own tables, and that's what I heard we're doing. We need to build our own tables. I believe, and I know I don't look like it, I know I don't act like it, but I'm a Presbyterian elder. I sit on the board of Johnson C. Smith Theological Seminary, and we were challenged about a BHAG. I said, what's a BHAG? It's a big, hairy, audacious goal. I believe in my own big, hairy, audacious goal. I mentioned it to my table mates. Wonder what it would look like. I don't know what year from now, but wonder what it would look like if they gave us the permit to bring folding chairs and ring that whole legislative building in Raleigh. Wonder what it looked like. If you're a Delta, bring a red one. If you're a Sigma Gamma Bro, bring a yellow one. Pink and green, bring one of those. Bring whatever color chair you want to, but could we ring it? What would that look like? And my question to you, even though this is not part of the script, this is my personal BHAG, having said that, what would it look like if we had our own women's agenda, Black women's leadership agenda? What would it look like if we had conversations leaving here where we talked about those things that we could agree on? I'm not saying that's what we should do. I'm just asking. I heard folks at that table said, I got to get with you at your table. I heard the Honorable Eva Clayton tell you she needed to get with you. I heard that because I'm nosy, remember? I heard it. So that's what I hope we will do from here on out. And I promise, and hold me accountable for gathering us together to have those conversations. If you want to, I promised you, Sarah Sonia, that we would talk. She's supposed to give me her number, and I plan to do it. Bernice Reagan, I don't know how many of you are old enough to remember Sweet Honey in the Rock, but she made up a song. She called it Ella's Song. And Ella's song said, "We who believe in freedom shall not rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes." That march on Washington was for jobs and freedom. And freedom. We lose that part. We always say it was for civil rights, but it was bigger than civil rights. It was for freedom. SNCC set a path for me. We all stand on the shoulders of somebody else. And I hope that moving forward from this place, that we set that path for those who are to follow or who create paths that we never imagined. My sisters and my brothers, because Irvin is in the room, Lamar is in the room, Courtney was here, and is Marcus still listening?
Yeah, he's still listening.
Thank you, all the brothers. We can't do this without you. Somebody said, she's gone now. She said, it feels like church in here. Always does when we get together. But I do want to say all hearts and minds in accord. I know y'all ready to go. Betty said, She's got to get back to the coast. I do so appreciate you coming. I do so appreciate you staying. I do so appreciate the gifts, the tangible financial gifts. I do. I do so appreciate the love, the commitment, and the fact that every day you are doing something that you're called to do, your heart tells you to do, and your service to others. May God forever hold you in his arms, in her arms. May spirit fill you. May peace surround you. May love lift you up, and courage to face tomorrow. From me to you, we thank you, we thank you, we thank you. Travel with angels.
Yes.